A man's biggest fear is facing himself. Yes, 100%. And here's the thing. I swung from branch to branch to branch. I went back to X to X to X because of that reason. I was terrified to sit in my silence and reckon with the pain that I knew resided within. I did not want to face it. I was too terrified to face it. So I did anything in my power to run away from it. Yes, it was my biggest fear. And here's the thing. If facing yourself is not your biggest fear, at the very least, your biggest hurdle, it damn well should be. And for good reason. Inside of all of us, we have that shadow figure. We have that shadow figure that contains all of our angst and pain and shame and doubts and insecurities and anguish and trauma. It all is there. It doesn't go anywhere. You just get better at communicating with it, at listening to it. It's always there. But when I was in that running phase of my life, like so many people are, the people who haven't started to heal, the people who are still running from themselves, know this with all their hearts. They will do anything to take that silence away. Yes, there are people on the other side of this, and they will and have been hurt. But there's a lesson in there too. As tumultuous as I was still comfort and safe with some of those people. Which is to say, some of their trauma responses was that comforting, caregiver, people-pleasing, selflessness. Those are trauma responses without boundaries. And that's why it's so damn difficult to face this inside, because this is tantamount to you taking complete accountability for you. The days of blaming someone else, the days of blaming another situation are over. When you start the healing process, when you really get down to that shadow work, the days of blame are over. And that is absolutely terrifying to an enormous amount of people. That's why it's so rewarding. That's why the work is so damn rewarding, because you finally get to the point, and this is where I am now, you get to the point where you realize that nobody's external bullshit affects me. I show up with my peace. I show up with my clarity. I show up with my boundaries comfortably and confidently. And that's the message I'm trying to bring in these videos. It shouldn't matter that a million unhealed and hurt people come your way. You grant the access. You deny the access. Period. They can say and spout all the bullshit they want, but if you have done the work, you can spot it a mile away, and you deny the access. That's why this information is so important to get out there, and that's why it's so important to show. Yes, it is a terrifying thing to confront yourself, but it is the most rewarding work you will ever do in your entire life.